The wonders of life got the prettiest side for everyone to enjoy. Standing up close by the Christmas tree, glimmering light, I am right where I wanna be. I will be home for a couple of days, wander around with you. You and me in the cold, thought it'd never be true. Wherever I go, I got you. Oh, I have stopped running, there is no way try.
Hello everyone and welcome to Farmhouse Charlie. In today's video we are going to be doing some Christmas DIYs. I am super excited for this video. These are DIYs you can do on a budget, so let's just get into it. Alright guys, so the first DIY we're going to be doing are these cone trees that I showed you in a picture just a minute ago. And right now, what you're going to need is some poster board. I got mine from the Dollar Tree, two for $1, so it makes 50 cents. And some hot glue, some fabric, and yeah, your scissors. So you saw me rolling up the poster board and just gluing it into a cone shape. Now I am trimming the cone to make it so that it lays flat. And these are just some of my favorite DIYs to do for Christmas time, and it makes a pretty good impact, I would say each of these cones cost me less than $1 to make. So if that interests you, then get some poster board and grab some fabric and some hot glue and get crafting, guys. This is just, I love these. And I, right now, am just taking the fabric, and it takes a little finessing and finagling to get it to just how you really want it. But I just rolled the fabric up, and you see me right here having a little bit of trouble. But in the end, I get it. I've made these before, but I haven't made any this season. So, I was a little rusty, but it all worked out. They turned out darling. So now I'm just folding over the piece so that it's like a nice piece on the back. And I just keep wrapping and end up gluing the fabric to the back. And then I do a little bit of embellishing, which you'll see here in a minute. But first I'm going to cut off the bottom section of the fabric. It was too much fabric. And then what I do is I take that fabric and just glue around the rim of that cone, and I push in the fabric on the bottom, and it lays flat and wonderfully, oh my gosh, you guys, I can't speak, but that's okay. We're going to keep going anyways. So I lay flat, it lays flat and wonderfully, and it looks gorgeous. So here I'm just, fine tuning it, making it how I want it to lay flat. And like I said, I add some embellishments, and yes, I'm going to let you guys watch me add some embellishments. Here I am. I'm just making a little bow. I'll tell you really quick. I fold my ribbon in half, do bunny loops, and then tie ribbon around the two bunny loops to make a bow. So I'll show you guys, I'll let you guys watch me add some pretty garland or pretty greenery and bows to the piece. Okay guys, and here I have another cone that I have made up that you saw me make, with some different fabric, as I'm going to be making 3 of these to do a little, I'm going to make one of the taller ones, one of the medium-sized ones, and one of the smaller ones. And so I just took an old placemat and did the same thing that I did with the first cone tree that I made that you guys saw. And I'm just doing that for this guy, but just with different fabrics. So I end up doing a third one off screen with some really, oh my gosh, I love the third one I did. I mean, I love them all, but I love the third one especially because it's chunky knit, and I love chunky knits, creamy chunky knits. Those are my thing. That's my thing. Those are my things, guys. Excuse me. So, anyways, yes, we are just, like I said, doing the same thing here. Trimming off the bottom, gluing the bottom back on up, and adding some embellishments here in a moment. Okay, you guys, you're gonna have to excuse my messy craft station. I am organizationally challenged. I mean, I love decorating and cleaning and all of that, but when it comes to organization, especially while crafting, I am not too good at it. So anyways, just ignore the fabric to the side, and yeah. Okay, so now I'm just putting a bow on this guy and some more greenery, and I'm going to show you here in a minute what the 3 of the cone trees look like together. I really am so pleased with how they turned out, and like I said, I love this DIY. It is so affordable and just makes a great impact. So here they are, coming up, styled, and yes, I love them. I think with my theme this year, it goes so well. They go so well, and they just love them. Love them, love them, love them. Okay, and moving right along to project number 2. We are going to be making this shag banner that you see here in the picture, and all that you require for this project is some fabric of your choosing. Now, I chose, I believe, 4 different fabrics, and I just cut the fabric up into strips. I actually ripped most of the fabric up into strips, but this lace that I had, I ended up cutting it into about, I would say, 8-inch strips, and I cut just a bunch up because I knew I could make a couple banners with them, with the fabric, and I made one, and then I'm gonna do some more crafts with the extra fabric pieces that I ripped and cut. So if you'd like to see a part 2 to my Christmas DIYs, then let me know, and I will get one of those videos out for you guys, and I would be so happy to do that. But right now, I am taking a longer piece of fabric from one of the pieces of fabric that I cut up, just the white fabric, into strips. I cut a longer strip, and what you do is you just, whatever order you want it to go in, you just tie the fabric around the longer strip, the smaller pieces of fabric around the longer strip, and you just keep going until you have a beautiful shag banner. And this is one of my favorites. I absolutely love these shag banners. You can do them in a neutral color, you can add, and you could also add, like with this, I'm going to use it for Valentine's Day, even for 4th of July. I can add in some blue with it. I'm using it for Christmas, and yes, I just love this banner, and so does this little guy right here. He was whining for me, so I brought the banner over and sat over and finished the banner with him, but I just had to show you this little guy, Hunter, my baby dog. He wanted to help. So anyways, here we have, just in a second, the banner coming up. And yes, I love how it turned out. I hope you guys do too. It's a very affordable DIY that makes a great impact. And project number 3. All you are going to need for this project is a clipboard, some paint, and maybe some greenery and a bow to embellish, or some ribbon to make a bow to embellish it with, and some IOD clay or air dry clay and a mold. So I got this clipboard from my local St. Vincent de Paul for, I believe, like 50 cents. It was 99 cents, but I think I got it for half off, so 50 cents. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you could get them at the dollar store. If not, I mean, they have them at your local thrift stores for super cheap in the office section. So head to your local thrift store if the Dollar Tree doesn't carry it, and go pick one up at the dollar store. I just painted mine white, and oh my gosh, this is such a fun piece, I think, because like I said, it's done for like less than $1, and or including the clay, and I would say it would cost like $2, maybe $3 at the tops to make, including the greenery, the paint, anyways, you get it. So I took my IOD air dry clay and one of their molds, and I put some baking soda in. I normally use cornstarch, but I couldn't find my cornstarch, and actually, ironically, right after I filmed this video, I found it. So it's all good. This worked. You just need something powdery to coat your mold with so that the clay comes out easily. And I just take my scraper and scrape off the excess clay, and then I am going to be forming the clay into a little wreath. These are just little embellishment molds that I ended up making. Like, you can take your molds and really just turn them into different. It doesn't have to be what you see in the mold. You can mold it to a different shape. Anyways, so I am taking this cursive letter font stamp, and I'm just going to be embellishing the white with this stamp. And you see right here that I'm using my briar to roll on some paint to the stamp, and I just continue to stamp away until the whole thing is stamped. And here I am just getting in the little nooks and crannies that I couldn't quite get to with the full stamp. And it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. That's the thing I love about like rustic, cottage, farmhouse, antique looking crafts, is that you do not have to have it be perfect in the least bit. Especially when you distress things, just like I'm doing now. I like to get my sandpaper in sheets of like 80 to 120 and 80 grit to 120 grit, and I just cut them into fourths. And yeah, so the clay that I had put into the molds and molded, I am now taking some of that Waverly mineral paint that I used for the, oh goodness, what is it, the stamp. And I am just cutting off the edges of the molds to make it look like a little wreath. And the paint, the Waverly mineral paint, I just dry brushed over the wreath bit. So now I am taking some ink, chalk paint from Waverly. It's called ink. It's a black color paint, and I am getting out the letters to write Merry and Bright. I have some stamps. These are stamps that I just got from the thrift store. They're letter stamps, and IOD also sells stamps that have letters and numbers. I have those as well, but I just these were better for the size I needed. And we have the little puppy saying hi to me. He is so funny, you guys. If I am working throughout the day, I mean, I work throughout the day on, you know, my homemaking and creating content for you guys, and just like I said, taking care of the home and whatnot. He just like whines for me, and he is such a needy little boy, but that's okay. I love him dearly, and yeah, you'll see him throughout the video come up and say hi to me. So anyways, Merry and Bright is what I'm stamping on the clipboard here, and yeah, I'll just let you guys watch what I'm doing as far as stamping goes here for a minute. Okay, and after I have the Merry and Bright stamped on there, I took the little wreath that we made out of the clay, and I just took one of the garland ties you can get from like the Dollar Tree. I got mine from Michael's, and I glued that down, glued the wreath on top of it, and added a bow. So now we are going to be adding some Waverly antiquing wax to just the sides to just make it look kind of distressed, and it almost looks like snowy to me now, like it had, like this snowed on this pattern, or I don't know. You guys will see. So I am just tapping, blotting on the Waverly antiquing wax just to how I like it, and I end up blotting it with I also put it on the clipboard part, the metal part of the clipboard, and to just make it look a little more old world. And yes, so then I blot with the paper towel just to take any excess wax that I got on there off, so it doesn't look too dark. And I am loving this so much. I took some black paint to just make it look distressed, to do a faux distress around the edges. And yes, this is such a fun, cheap, affordable, it doesn't look cheap, it's cheap to do, affordable piece to do and make for a piece of home decor. Okay guys, project number 4. We are going to be making this spindle tree and bunt pan holder. So what you're going to need is an old spindle. I got mine from a crib that a friend gave to me, and I took some of the garland ties that I got from Michael's, and a bunt pan, some floral foam, some white paint, and yes, we are just going to get to painting this spindle. And you guys know that, I mean, you know how to paint a spindle, so you just paint it on up and distribute the paint evenly, and then we are gonna, in a minute, get to drilling. So you also, that's right, you will also need a drill and a drill bit to make the holes for the pieces of greenery that we're going to be attaching to make it look like the branches. So if you could also possibly hot glue them if you don't have a drill. I haven't tried that yet, but what I'm doing is I am drilling holes into, like, it's not like holes just straight down. I kind of cross hitch the pattern, or I drill 4 holes on each side, and then like on each little spindle part, or each little part of the spindle, and then I go like down and drill a hole in between the two, so that it makes like, so that the trees don't look like, the branches don't look like they're all just in a row. You want them staggered. I stagger the holes is basically what I'm trying to say here. So I just take the my 120 grit sandpaper, and I even out any of the pieces that may be sticking out from drilling the holes, and I paint over it again and just dress it. Next, we're going to take those ties, those branch ties, and cut them in half, and we're going to stick them into each little hole. And then after I have stuck them into all each individual hole, I fluff it how I like it. I kind of droop the branches down, and to make them, it look like a tree. And I just love how this turned out. I ended up putting the spindle into the bun pan and just some fabric around it. It is a fan favorite here so far. And project number 5, we are going to be making a vintage saw tree farm sign. So what you're going to need is to pick up a saw. I like the look of the vintage ones. I picked mine up from the thrift store, I believe, for like $4 or $5. And you're going to need some stamps to stamp on the letters, some paint, and something to embellish it with. I embellished mine with some of that ribbon we made, or not ribbon, the fabric that I ripped up to make the garland, the shabby garland with, and I painted the saw white. I am right now just figuring out how I want my letters, and I originally drew on a little arrow with a Sharpie pen to make it look like tree farm that way, like with an arrow, but I ended up not liking the part with the arrow, so I ended up, in a minute, off camera, I took off the arrow and added a different type of stamp to the right of where it says tree farm, from my IOD stamp collection, some of their Christmas greenery collection. So I am just going to stamp on tree farm with my IOD letter set, and then add on a bow. I really love this piece so much. It is so me. And yes, so I'll just let you guys watch me stamping on tree farm. Then I just took some of those ripped fabric pieces, I took 6 of them, I tied them in the middle and made a little embellishment on there, and really love this piece so much. Okay guys, and project number 6. We are going to be making these darling drop cloth type fabric trees, and I'm going to show you how I put my pots together for the trees. So right now I am just taking some tissue paper I got from the Walmart, and I'm cutting it to size to wrap around. I also got this pot from Walmart. It came with like it's a plant pot that came with like a little stand thing, but I didn't need, the stand was a little too mid-century modern for me, so what I do, I make my own Mod Podge. Now I much prefer wood glue with watered down wood glue for my Mod Podge. I feel like I get a lot less wrinkles, and I always have wood glue on hand, so I'm never having to go run out and buy Mod Podge. So there's a little tip and trick for you that it works just as good, if not better, at least for me. So I just Mod Podge or wood glued on the paper or the tissue paper, and put some floral foam into the pot. Took a branch that I had and cut the branch to size how I wanted it for the little tree we're going to be making. And yes, I took a piece of fabric to just make look like a little patch, cut it to size, and fringed the edges. And now we are taking I'm going to be making the stuffed trees that you saw. So you'll need fabric, you'll need stuffing for the trees, and a pot and a branch. You'll need your wood glue and all of that too. Your hot glue. But I cut my fabric into strips just to make it a little more textured and interesting. And instead of just using one piece of fabric, I just cut ripped up a bunch of strips, glued them together, and then it makes one piece of fabric. So if there's just a little tip for you, if you want to make something a little more visually interesting or textured, if you're making a stuffed tree, stuffed mittens, stuffed skates, then just rip up some fabric and make your own. You can even do different pieces of fabric. I just stuck to the one, but I'm folding it in half, finding the center, and then I am cutting out a triangle basically to make the tree. And I then save the other excess pieces to make another tree, which I'm going to glue together here in a little bit. And yes, so I'm doing just one full piece of fabric for the back, or it could be the front. You can interchange these throughout the season to just have different looks. Use the front for a while, use the back for a while, make the back the front the back, tomato, whatever works for you. So I just cut the back to the same size as the front, and now I am gluing the edges. I do not sew, so I am hot gluing down the edges halfway for the tree, and I am starting to stuff it with some filling from an old pillow. A tip and trick for getting affordable polyfill is going to Walmart, get a pillow for $2.98 and use the stuffing from there. If you want, you can buy the polyfill, but it's much cheaper to just buy filling from, or buy not an old pillow, or you could buy an old pillow from the thrift store, but buy a pillow, a cheap pillow, and just use the stuffing from that. So I glued the bottom down almost together, all the way together, except I left a little slot open for the stick, stuck the stick in, glued around the stick to secure it. I glued on the little patch, and voila, you have a tree, and it's a cute stuffed tree. And I'm just adding some extra foam right now, and then I will put some cute fabric just around the bottom to cover up the foam and make it kind of look like a tree. What is it? What I did was I forgot that I had done this. I made a little tree skirt by just you could do this. This is how to make a little tree skirt too, by the way. But I didn't end up liking how it looked, so I just nixed that idea. But you can cut a circle, just eyeball it, and out of fabric, cut a hole in the middle, fold it into fourth, cut it down the middle, or cut a little hole in the middle, a little small circle in the middle, and then cut down half of it to make a tree. skirt. I can actually do a tutorial on making a tree skirt. I might actually make a new tree skirt for my tree this year. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments section down below. But what I did was I just took fabric, wrapped it around the bottom to cover the foam, and I took an extra piece of that fabric and I just tied a knot and called it a day. But what I'm doing now is I am just taking those 2 excess pieces and gluing them together to make like one tree. Same thing with the back to the other piece, and I am just gonna glue those together. But I'm gonna also take an extra piece of fabric and from that I'm gonna cut to make it look like a ticking stripe from this piece of fabric, and just place it down the center and basically just do the same thing I did with the other tree. After I get this guy on, I'm gonna just cut out a piece, a square piece to make like a patch, look like a patch as well. And then I am going to fringe the sides of the little patch and I'm trying to figure out right now where I want to place it. And I'm just going to be gluing. I don't like to glue the whole thing together, as far as like being able to get the stuffing up on in there really well. So I just glue it halfway down, then I put stuffing in, and then I glue the rest. And then, like I said, leave an opening for the stick to go into the bottom little hole. You guys, these are so cute. I absolutely adore these. And you can do so many different types of pots with them. I'll show you in a minute. I took an old sifter. I have a huge antique sifter collection, and I was like, okay, you can't just hoard sifters and like not use them. You need to start using them or displaying them. So I'll do a display with them for Christmas. But I took one of them, and you'll see, yeah, right here. The sifter, I end up painting it white, and oh, here, see, I'm showing you right here, you guys, like, it can be cute on both sides, the front and the back, but I'm just sticking the stick into that bottom opening and taking a knife. It's kind of off camera, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it's definitely off camera. Sorry about that. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking the knife and cutting through some of that polyfill, or well, some of the stuffing, and just getting the stick on in there. Sorry, you guys, that it is off camera. I apparently wasn't really paying attention. I get into the craft mode, and I'm like, yes, let's craft, guys. So anyways, yes, if you guys like DIYs, let me know in the comments section down below, and I will bust out some more trash to treasures, some more DIYs. What do you guys like to watch? I want to try to cater to all of you, and I'm so grateful, you guys, to every single one of you. I feel like I have like 1,500 new friends, and I'm just so grateful for you, and I feel so blessed abundantly that people actually want to watch me and like what I do. And it's like I can't even, like, when I had like 100 subscribers, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like 100 people who are actually interested in what I'm doing. This is amazing. And now to have 1,500 of you, I just want to thank you. And I also want to say that if I haven't gotten to your comment, or, you know, if you've reached out on Instagram, I do a lot in my day, and I try to get back to you. So please bear with me. Your comments, your likes, your support, it all means so much. It means the absolute world to me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am working on getting back to everyone. If it takes me a little longer, please just hang in there with me. I'm not ignoring you. I love all of you, and I'm just so grateful to you for your love and support. So moving right along, okay, so this sifter, most sifters, well, yes, they have a hole on the bottom, you know, to sift the flour. I ripped out the guts of the, excuse me, I ripped out the part where you sift the flour and whatnot, and I just made a bottom with multiple pieces of, I could have used foam board, but I didn't have any, so I just like glued together a bunch of pieces of poster board and cut the circle to size. And here I am just painting the sifter white. Okay, friends, now that I have the sifter painted white, I am just distressing it with my 120 grit sandpaper, and I am just roughing it up, scuffing it up, making it gorgeous and rustic and fabulous. So, I really like I said before, I really like the look of, rustic, cottage, antique, farmhouse pieces, and I love it because it leaves room for error. So continuing with that, I am just continuing with the look of the first pot. I am taking this came in a pack of 3 different types of tissue paper, and I am taking, it was like $1.48, I believe, from Walmart, and I am just taking the brown tissue paper and cutting a square, and then cutting a smaller square with the checkered gingham type tissue paper, and then I am taking my hodgepodge Mod Podge. Oh, you guys, I crack myself up. As you get to know me better, as I grow my channel, or as I continue to push out content to you guys, you will get to know that I am a little bit of I'm silly. Anyways, so I finished that, put the tree in, and these are what they look like. Oh my gosh, aren't they darling? I absolutely love it. If you want to know how I made that back sign in the back, let me know. I would love to do a DIY on that as well. Okay, guys, and last but not least, project number 7. We are going to be making this 25 joy sign, and I did this just because I wanted to make something that represents the joy that comes from the 25th of December, the joy that comes from Jesus, and why we celebrate Christmas in the first place. I know it is easy to get caught up in all of ours, like my Santa Claus mug collection and all of, the festive, fun, fabulousness of Christmas, but it's also the most important thing to really remember why we celebrate Christmas, and that is because Jesus was born this day, the 25th of December. So here we have the dog saying hello, but you guys, if you do not already have some letter and number stamps, get yourself some. Go on to Amazon, order them from Prima Design, or go and get yourself some IOD ones from the thrift store. Yes, so all I did was stamped on the 25th of Joy with my stamp, and I just took, you can use your Braille, or you can use your, I just took a paintbrush and painted on the paint onto the stamps, and now I am just making it look enameled, and I end up distressing it, and I am going to put an embellishment on here in a minute. I just embellish it and take some of those ripped pieces of fabric and tie them together, slap it on there, and it's good. So we're wrapping today's video up, and I just want to thank you all so much for coming by and for checking out my Christmas the dog, he cracks me up, you guys. My Christmas video. Oh, I forgot, I put on some greenery as well. So don't forget to just embellish if you want, or you can make it simple, whatever you want to do. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for, if you've stuck around this long, for watching this DIY, and please let me know in the comment section down below what you would like to see more of. I am going to be having my Christmas tree decorate with me come out next, and more Christmas decorating. So please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and stay tuned, because I have so much more content coming for you guys. This is just the beginning of Farmhouse Charlie here on YouTube. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. Love to you all. Blessings, my friends.